staring at you.
Keep your mind.
When I was on dialysis, I'd stare at the nurse, real nice face, pretty face, but she was walking by one day and I was looking at her and she says, "What are you staring at?"
Yeah, you have something to look at,
Yeah.
something to do, right?
That's
Jim,
right.
before you get started, would you look at the camera? This is the only time I'll ask you to look at the camera. Say your name and then spell your name.
And the camera is that.
Yep.
My name, Jim Gregson. Jimgregson.
Perfect.
Very good.
All
Jim,
captured.
I'm interested in the Rotary Club that you're in and the year you joined and how long you've been in there.
I've had the pleasure of being visited by 3 good Rotarians several years ago in August of 1982. Albert Gaskell and Harvey Jocelyn Jr. and Bob visited me. Anyway, they sat on my living room couch, and I'd never heard about Rotary, and talked to me and the wife, and told me about a proposition where she wouldn't have to cook every Thursday night. So that sounded pretty good to me to have some different cooking. So for about 42 years now, I've been in Rotary Club in Morehead City. And working at Cherry Point, it was a nice diversion of getting away from some of my work, because I worked about 12 o'clock every night, doing things, whatever. So that was all work, no play about. So the Rotary Club was a good diversion for me. And with the programs that they had at the time there, I became very interested in the club from the standpoint that I got to know more about what was happening in Morehead City. And it was also a good way to meet some new people. And after a while, after meeting some very good friends, many of which are no longer with us because of the 42 years that have passed, a few of those good friends are still with us after those 42 years. And some of them and myself, to be perfectly honest, have talked in recent years about how life has changed, Rotary clubs have changed, personalities have changed. The nature of the club is different from what it used to be. RI is completely different in its constitution and what it requires. And some of the things have changed. We old folks set in their ways at times, just don't particularly like them. And we've talked about, is it time for us just to retire and get out of the club? So unfortunately, we're still there because we still enjoy the friendship that we each share. Thursday night's the only time we have to get together there. So we've talked about how we'd like a club that's structured well to give us time to have that fellowship, to renew some of the things that's going on in our lives. And over the years, with the emphasis on projects and activities that we do, it's a good way to get out and be amongst people and help people. In young days, we think more about what we're doing, what we're trying to do to try to live, but as we get older and go through a lot of health issues, we thank God for being alive, and we get to the point that we just feel like we need to give back to society in some way, so we spend our time doing that. So that's pretty much how I got in there and where it's been and how things have changed and why I'm still stuck in it.
If you keep your eye on me, okay? I know he's good looking, but I'm better looking. Jim, you are basically the historian of our club. You have been involved with the 70-year, 5-year anniversary. You know that book inside and out. You've put everything up on our website. I'm looking to you to fill us in on some of the early things that happened that we don't have anybody to speak for now, except for someone like you. So can you go back to 1925 when they founded the club and kind of go over a bit of the history that you're aware of that you can share with the audience?
When I joined the Rotary Club in Morehead City, as a new member, they gave me a booklet. It was a hardbound box with about 6 little booklets in it that told about the Rotary Club in Morehead City. So getting interested in the Rotary Club there, and then listening to some of the people talking around and getting some of the history together for the club, it was interesting to see how the Rotary Club of Morehead City, starting from the really true business people of Morehead City that got everything started in Morehead City back in 1925. They were the movers and shakers that really shaped and made Morehead City. And on our club website, there is a photograph of a group of people at the port of North Carolina that were the ones in the Rotary Club at the time that were responsible for working with the state to get the Morehead City Rotary Port up and running. That is one of the, I would say, the most important things that they probably have done to Morehead, but there's a lot of other things in Morehead City's history that they've done there. And some of those long-term members that I've been with, like John Nelson and Harvey Jocelyn Jr. and others, Tommy Noy, and all very good people. They were responsible back in the early days of, especially John Nelson, of keeping everything that he got his hands on. And through all the information that I could get from these people and gathering them and looking long term of things changing from paper to computer network, I had the thought that we need to digitize the history of Morehead City Rotary Club. So I was having an interest in computers and programming and other things that was aside from my main job of an engineer that I had at Cherry Point where I worked. I just wanted to get everything captured that I could, and a lot of the watered up stuff that was in our cabinet and other places, as I copied them rather than keep them around, they eventually got destroyed. And I've just tried to get everything I could to put it online, so everything I've ever touched that I thought would be of historical value for the Rotary Club of Morehead City is on our Rotary Club website, which for those that are interested and want to go look at it, it is fortunately Rotary, MHC for moreheadcity.org. And thanks to Barbara Johnson and coming up with that club and name and getting it online and paying for a domain name, we have it up and running, and it has gotten quite a bit of use. Once I finally got Microsoft and Google to get it digitized and recorded in their, I would say, their records, because the web crawlers weren't doing a very good job of getting it so that it could be easily found. But as people use Facebook more, with our website on the Facebook page now, more people make a click on the Facebook page, the more people that go to our website get the hits more. The more we have certain keywords on our pages on the website, and that way the web crawlers or the search engine optimization technology finds us. So fortunately, we come up #1 on the web search for Rotary Morehead City now, beyond ahead of the Noon Rotary Club that got so much publicity with John Capps, who was a true Rotarian and everybody loved for his funny stories and his bald head.
competition is good. Jim, I remember hearing something about the Rotary Club of Morehead City founding, acting as the Chamber of Commerce for Morehead City, and then being the basis for what we now know as the Chamber of Commerce for Carter County. Do you have that story?
As far as the Chamber of Commerce of Morehead City is concerned, all I can say there is that the people in Rotary, being the true people of the movers and shakers of Morehead City, I'm not surprised that they wouldn't be involved with the development of the Chamber of Commerce. But any particular story of how that came about, I have not been privy, nor have I really asked anyone about that. The Sonny Gear that had Gear Oil Company down in Morehead, he's certainly one of the movers and shakers of Morehead City. Sonny and I were very good friends, but I never really discussed that story with him.
What about the fact that we were instrumental in forming the recreation department for Morehead City? Do you have that story?
As far as the recreation department of Morehead City is concerned, and a story of how that got started, that story is no different than the one of the Chamber of Commerce. Those things were before my time and getting into the club in 1982 in many ways. But if you get to the Rotary Park now of Morehead City, I know I was involved with our club at the time when different clubs got together and talked about wanting to help get a park in Morehead City. And John Nelson with the commissioners, I guess, or whatever you want to call them, Morehead City, being a member of our club, I remember him talking about how, well, if we're putting $2,000 a club into getting it started, then as seed money, then by golly, we ought to call Rotary. Otherwise, we're going to tell the town, we're not going to work with you.
Very good. Jim, you've been involved in many projects. Can you speak to the project of the Catherine Davis Park and the flagpole and benches that are there? You were instrumental in getting that.
Yeah. I was club president back in 2019. I followed Rick Johnson, which I dearly love. He was instrumental in getting working with the Balsam Range project that we have and getting that changed so that the funds from that went into getting supporting Alzheimer's research, which means a lot to me and family. But it's a branch out from that, and following Rick, I thought that for a service project of our Rotary Club, I was really glad that Rick had the one for Alzheimer's research, but how can I top that? What can be done? So I talked to Sonny Gear and other people that were old timers of Morehead City in our Rotary Club. Bud Dixon, not Bud Dixon, he's a mayor long ago, but current mayor there, Jerry Jones. Talking with Jerry and talking with the manager of Morehead City. And I thought, well, you know, if I go to them and want to get a project started, I needed somebody with more horsepower than me, because these people didn't know me as much as they did Judge Herb Phillips. So I got Herb Phillips to go with me, and we had a meeting with the Morehead City leaders, and I had got the idea of how to do something with Rotary Park and make it better and attractive, because we had people in our Rotary Club presenting plans of what they wanted to do with Catherine Davis Park to develop that whole square area. And those, a lot of factions and different people's opinions of Morehead City didn't really want to do anything much. They couldn't agree on anything. I guess that's a better word. They just couldn't agree with what to do. So it was left in a stalemate. So how can we get something started there? So in talking with the leaders of Morehead at the time, the Parks and Recreation, one of the development there, and the manager, they said, well, we've had someone to donate a flagpole to us, and we don't know what to do with that flagpole. We've thought about maybe sticking it at the end of the high-rise bridge that goes to Beaufort, but that really doesn't appear to be a good thing to do with a nice big flag. So I had approached them with trying to do something with some park benches or something there of what to do. So the person in charge of the Morehead City's maintenance work and development, I guess, of some of the parks and things, he sat down with his piece of paper and sketched off a circular thing of what other people had to do, and he made the arrangements with someone to do some benches and things and get them made such that they wouldn't rust so bad. But we knew we had to have the name of Rotary on it, so I came up with a plaque design for them to have made in bronze to put on there, and worked with Sam Ballou, the person that did the work. Went down and watched his workers make all the pretty concrete there. It was amazing the skills that they had and how well they can do it. Maybe I shouldn't say this. Maybe you can just cut it out if you don't want to listen to it. But the flagpole is 2 feet taller than Morehead City's limit requirement for a building structure. I say 2 feet taller. Maybe not. Maybe it's just a few inches. But when they had the big ladder truck in there to try to get it stand and straightened up and put down, anyway, that and some other stores were pretty interested. But it turned out pretty nice if anybody's ever visited there to see the benches and the rest area. And Jerry Jones wanted to make sure that first responders were in there too. So I had just approached him with just honoring the military folks, but he wanted to add this first responders. So there's a bench there with first responders and the Navy and the Air Force and the beloved Marine Corps and the Navy as well. So that design for those benches were made with the help of the daughter of the fellow in Newbern that did the cutting of the material to make to weld the benches together. So his 10, 12-year-old daughter had a lot of influence on what artwork got welded into those benches, which was interesting.
Good. Thank you, Jim. And is there anything else that you would like to share for posterity about your Rotary and Rotary experience here in Carteret County?
Thinking about our Rotary Club over the 42 years that I've been in it, needless to say, with the change of people, the character of the club has changed a lot. Some ways for the better, and some ways, in my old set ways, not as good. But if we want to have a club that's vibrant and keeps going, I think that we need to certainly make sure that the club meetings are structured very efficiently, and the club meetings to be structured such that people have time to socialize and talk, because friendship is a good part of it. I think that where possible, if we don't have club business going, we always need a speaker of something about what's happening in Morehead City, because keeping up with what's happening in the city is very important, as well as the importance of keeping the friendships going. And years ago, I liked the club from the standpoint that we didn't have a lot of time-consuming things that took you away from the young family, which I was at the time. And we just did things ad hoc as they were needed. For example, if we had a hurricane that came through, John Nelson and a couple other people would drive through down east looking and seeing what people needed. If he saw a family that was sleeping on a wet floor that needed some plastic and needed a new dry mattress, then we made sure that they had the plastic and a dry mattress for a place to sleep. And the club would just out of their pocket chip in and do things. I found that very nice and good way to help people, because that way you knew where your support was going and what you were doing.
I'll pass that on. Thank you, Jim. That's wonderful. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your memories. We appreciate all you've done for the community through Rotary and the time you put into our history. Thank you.
All righty.